this a dissonance and this a consonance. It's not a very sharp dissonance, right? It doesn't like sting or hurt or anything. More on that shortly. Just remember that the fourth is kind of a special case. So our perfect consonances are unison, fifth, and octave, right? Our imperfect consonances are generally considered to be the third and the sixth. It's inversion. Okay, so those two are called imperfect consonances, meaning they're consonances, but they're not as strong as the perfect ones, and they can turn into dissonant ones. It's hard to turn a unison into a dissonant interval. It's hard to turn an octave into a dissonant interval, and it's hard to turn a fifth into a dissonant interval. And by turn into, what I mean is put other things around it that make it sound dissonant, not alter it. Because if we alter it, it's not a fifth anymore. But add more notes to this in which, in some contexts, it sounds dissonant. Very difficult to do that. Not so hard with the third or the sixth. So that's why we call them imperfect consonances. Now let's talk about some dissonant intervals. Our two diatonic dissonant intervals are the second and the seventh. So this one, let's just hit a couple seconds over here. Now remember, this is a major second. A minor second is even more dissonant. Let's do a couple minor seconds here. A half step, basically. A C to a D flat is a good one. Okay, this is like the theme from Psycho, if you remember that. So here's a major second, here's a minor second. Right, so those are dissonant. They're a little stingy. And then they're inversion of a seventh. So a C and a B as a major seventh. Oops. Oops. And let's do a minor seventh also. Also considered a dissonant interval. Okay, let's hear those. So major seventh, minor seventh. Okay, now also considered dissonant are any augmented or diminished intervals, things like the tritone, right? So remember, the tritone is a diminished fifth. Let's make a couple of those. So G is a perfect fifth. G flat is going to be a tritone or F sharp, depending on how we look at it. Okay, so these are the tritone. They are also considered diminished or dissonant. So these are our main dissonant intervals. Let's just hear a whole big string of dissonant stuff. Why not? If you have a headache, you might want to turn it down for a minute. There you go. Those are our dissonant intervals. So remember that I said consonant intervals are kind of intervals that can stay. We could stop on them and be pretty happy. Dissonant intervals are still on their way to somewhere else. That's the way I think about it anyway. So let's talk about how we resolve dissonant intervals and what that term resolution means in the next video.